Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. This morning, I'm joined by City Council Member Jolla Shores, Deputy Chief Operating Officer Chris McFadden, Bethany Bezak, our Director of City's Transportation Department, and Scott Kreider, the Senior Vice President for San Diego Gas and Electric. We are here this morning to celebrate the last remaining overhead utility pole from this part of the Jolla Shores neighborhood being removed at long last. This pole represents an important milestone, marking the final removal of an overhead utility lines for the second phase of the Jolla Circuit 1J undergrounding project. Beginning in 2019, this project has provided 1.8 miles of new, safe, and reliable underground electrical, telephone, and broadband services utilities that service 81 homes. Replacing overhead utility cables with underground connections improves public safety and aesthetics for our communities, as well as the overall reliability and resiliency of our critical utility systems. Undergrounding projects like this one also brings about new streetlights, accessibility upgrades like curb ramps, as well as new street trees throughout the neighborhood. We'll be planting a new street tree on this block today in our continuing effort to grow our urban forest and bring the benefits of livability of shade trees and underground utilities provide. This is the first undergrounding project completed since our new franchise agreement and undergrounding memorandum of understanding with SDG&E. This new agreement with SDG&E enhances transparency and accountability, and I deeply appreciate their partnership in retooling this program, which is very popular with residents, and we want to make more effective and efficient. I believe these agreements will do that. I'm excited to see undergrounding in this neighborhood get completed and for the larger undergrounding program to get back up to speed to serve more neighborhoods all across San Diego. There are roughly 1,000 miles of overhead utility lines that remain to be undergrounded. It's estimated at our current pace, nearly all residential areas will be completed in the next 54 years. Yes, I know. The goal is for them to be underground before I am. I want to thank everyone in our transportation department for their incredible work on this program. It is a partnership between SDG&E and the city. We have some incredible city employees who are here that work hard on this program to plan it. I want to point out this is one of the most complicated things that we do. This involves taking out poles, undergrounding utilities, as I mentioned, upgrading the overall infrastructure, and of course, maintaining service throughout that whole process. These are not easy. They're very complex. It's a part of why it's going to take a long time to get the rest of the city undergrounded, but that's also why it's important to mark every single milestone in this particular program. And I'm glad that we can bring these improvements to the folks here in Jolla Shores, and rest assured that we'll continue to bring more of these kinds of improvements to other neighborhoods all across the city. With that said, in addition to our partnership with SDG and our incredible city staff, none of this gets done without the partnership of great leadership at City Hall. We are in Council District 1, and my partner in this neighborhood, or this district, as well as all good things relative to the environment and infrastructure, is our council member, my friend, Jolla Shores. Councilmember LaCava.
With that, I'll join the mayor. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you for joining us today. As the council member that represents La Jolla in San Diego's 1st District, I prioritize the concerns of our residents, and one issue that consistently comes up is undergrounding of utilities and the need to repave our roads. Like the La Jolla Parkway, this pole removal marks the completion of a very visible and overdue project. I want to recognize and thank city staff, many of them were behind us today, for working closely with SDG&E and the other utility companies, engaging the community in design options, and ensuring that we achieve a result that satisfies both aesthetic and practical considerations. I recall the mayor, then the interim mayor, appointing me to a utility undergrounding task force several years ago. We both recognized that a sexy street can be ruined by the placement of an ugly utility box, and that's the result you see behind you. But by all accounts, city staff, SDG&E, and the other utility companies have done an excellent job of carefully siting those utility boxes to make sure that the beauty of the utility undergrounding is complementing by the beauty of these boxes and the landscaping that you see around us. Today's ceremony gives us pause to recognize the city SDG&E partnership that delivers these undergrounding projects. It's worth taking a moment to celebrate as yet another neighborhood enjoys the benefit of utilities that are safer and more reliable. Today we celebrate, but there's also a more serious component evident today as well. Underground utilities is symptomatic of our city's many older neighborhoods. And as we complete this neighborhood, There is a larger effort underway to our west, a project in which the city and utility companies are working together to resolve technical issues and move that project to completion. And to our south in the Muirlands, a technical dispute has stymied that project for far too long and must come to terms and get that project done as well. La Jolla is getting its share of undergrounding work. And to those who are still waiting, including my neighborhood, I invite you to the Environment Committee later this month, where we will get an update on the overall program. Further, the more challenging issue of our overall infrastructure backlog. I am working with the mayor to ensure La Jolla, as an older community, gets its share of the limited infrastructure dollars that we have access to. This project, the paving of La Jolla Parkway, repairs of our shoreline parks and streets, and repairing the streets that local and millions of visitors use to visit our coastline. I thank the mayor for his partnership to ensure we're taking care of La Jolla, District 1, and our city's many, many needs. In closing, I want to express my gratitude to everyone involved in making this project a success. The mayor and I get to talk. It is these good people from SDG&E, utility companies, and our city employees that really make these projects happen. And especially to the residents who had to endure many years of construction activity in front of their homes and on their streets. Their commitment and support have been instrumental in completing this project. Thank you all, and Mayor, let us continue working together to make La Jolla Shores an even better place to live, work, and play. And with that, I'll have the honor of passing the mic on to our Director of Transportation, Bethany Bizak.
Good morning. Thank you, Councilmember LaCava, for the introduction. Thank you, Mayor Gloria, for being here this morning as well. I would also like to recognize our partners at SDG&E and stakeholders in this community for being here with us to celebrate this day. Since the city of San Diego started burying utility lines in 1970, that's right, 1970, the goal of the Utilities Undergrounding Program has been to convert every residential overhead in the city of San Diego to underground service. This morning, we gather to celebrate the completion of this phase of the Jolla Shores project, which gets us a step closer to realizing that goal across our city. Currently, the Transportation Department is responsible for allocating, developing, designing, and constructing the utility underground projects with SDG&E and our telecommunications partners. These are large, highly coordinated, and laborious projects that test the skill of our staff as well as our stakeholders and sometimes the patience of our community. But this difficult process results in safer and more inviting streets. As the mayor and council member have stated, putting electrical and telecommunication lines underground beautifies our neighborhoods and makes these services safer and much more reliable. Further, this project includes the installation of ADA-compliant ramps and new, longer-lasting LED light bulbs that will keep this neighborhood illuminated with less energy and requiring less maintenance of our city workers. Today, we're also planting a street tree just up the road here with our work. So as we're taking out our utility poles, we're also increasing our tree canopy. Incorporating more trees in the underground areas will make our communities more livable and contribute to our climate action goals of decarbonization, resilient infrastructure, and clean communities. And it's just one of the over 250,000 street trees across our communities. The work to underground all residential overhead utilities is substantial, and we're pleased to finish the work here and across the city with upcoming projects in Pacific Beach, Claremont, North Park, Golden Hill, and Logan Heights. In just a few moments, we'll remove this last remaining light pole behind us, and we welcome the Vice President of SDG&E, Scott Kreider, for remarks. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bethany, and we're absolutely thrilled to be here for this last pull-out ceremony. And these are really always exciting projects for us at SDG&E because it really marks the end of a major construction project. And as you heard already, these are complicated, and I want to thank both the city staff and the SDG&E crews for making sure, most importantly, that it was done safely. That is absolutely paramount for us. But it also marks really the beginning of a more beautiful neighborhood. And so this is a really exciting time for us today. These do not happen by accident. As you heard the mayor and the council member, a lot of collaboration, a lot of coordination, and this is the type of partnership that's really required to be able to move these projects forward. So I really want to thank the mayor, the council member, LaCava, for their ongoing input, for their feedback, for their partnership, And, we really have a partnership that is going to propel us well into the future and help make neighborhoods safer, more reliable, and more beautiful. It's really a point of pride at SDG&E in terms of putting even more lines underground. We have about 63% of our lines are currently underground, and that's compared to about 20% on average nationally. And obviously there's great aesthetics when you go underground, but we think just as important is from a reliability standpoint. And the reason why we are the most reliable utility in the Western United States for 17 years in a row is in large part because of our commitment and the city's commitment to having an underground system. It's easier for operations, it's more beautiful, and it's a lot more reliable. So I really want to, again, thank the community for their patience. These are highly disruptive projects. They take a long time. We appreciate all their patience. And as we remove this last pole today, finish up this job, then we'll definitely get out of here and make sure that everything's looking spot clean. So with that, I want to invite the mayor back up again, and thank you very much.
Scott, thank you. Last minute addition to the agenda, we have a La Jolla community leader who's with us this morning. Want to say a few words. Janie Emerson, would you come on up?
Yes, and would you stay, Councilmember LaCava, would you come up, please? Janie Emerson, I'm president of La Jolla Shores Association, and I want to thank Mayor Gloria
Of course.
and Councilmember LaCava for all their efforts on behalf of La Jolla Shores. This area serves so many people for the entire city. And so this isn't just for our neighborhood, it's for everybody who comes to the shores, all the visitors and everybody from every place else in San Diego. So we thank both of you for doing this, for targeting this neighborhood as important, and please go on with the ceremony. Thank you.
Janie, thank you for that. No other words are needed. Gray skies aside, we're looking forward to some clearer skies, both in the weather terms and with the removal of this pole. So let's get on with it, right? Let's get that pole out of here, everybody. Let's go.